Ok, hey, hey. Hola, señoras y señores. É hora de falar sobre o Grupo C da Copa do Mundo com foco extra no Brasil e na Escócia. Okay, we're talking about Brazil. So I did the intro in Portuguese. So I promised to do the rest of this video in English. But anyway, I thought that was appropriate because we're going to talk about Brazil a lot in this video as we talk about Group C and some of the props we might get from some of the teams involved in the group as the World Cup gets ready to kick off June 11th down in Mexico City. I'm Bruce Marshall. First of all, a couple of quick housekeeping reminders as always. Don't forget, if you would like, we would like you to hit that subscribe button on the screen there. Good deal for you. You get all of our Wager Talk TV videos that way by just hitting that subscribe button. Also, don't forget special offers we got going now, including my World Cup All Access Pack. Now, that is all of my picks through the World Cup, just $149. As mentioned, action starts June 11th down in Mexico City, South Africa will be playing Mexico, and it goes all the way through July 19th at the Meadowlands in New Jersey for the final. Remember, that's my World Cup All Access Pack, just $149. Picks all of the way through Copa Mundial. Okay, let's talk now about Group C. And this is Brazil's group. We're going to talk a little bit more about Brazil in this segment, a little bit more about Scotland too. But the group as it is, as you can see on the crawl at the bottom of the screen, the four sides in this group. We've got Brazil, we've got Haiti, we've got Morocco, and we have got Scotland. The odds to win the group, Brazil is a pretty prohibitive favorite, obviously, to win the group. So I don't know if there's any great value there to lay minus 500 with Brazil. The value might be in a Brazil-Morocco coming in 1-2, which I think we'll talk more about specifics in a second, plus 110 on that. That's not too bad. But let's talk about Brazil first of all. And I think Brazil is getting a little bit overlooked this time, and this is kind of rare in the World Cup because usually Brazil is always a featured side to look at. This year, not quite as much. The odds to reach the final plus 400, that's reasonable. To win the whole thing plus 800, that's a little higher than we're normally used to seeing Brazil. Sort of understandable because they did have a difficult qualifying campaign. I think there's some explanations for that, but for much of the qualifying down in South America, they really had some problems. Much of it, I think, due to the managerial situation there, waiting for Carlo Ancelotti to become available from Real Madrid. He was identified as the guy they wanted, but he stayed a little extra time at Real Madrid. So a couple of interim appointments they had in Brazil. There were also some issues with the Federation and FIFA. So it's kind of a mess there for a while and a jumble until Ancelotti finally showed up in last year in 2025. He was there for the last four qualifiers. So we don't have a large body of work with Ancelotti with Brazil. And the last qualifier, they did lose to Bolivia, but they did already have a qualification secured by that point. They won the two previous matches. Why do I like Ancelotti so much? First of all, his record in Europe is exemplary. A big game coach, and he knows how to manage big stars. He's won Champions League numerous times. He won it with AC Milan. He won a few of them with Real Madrid. And he certainly knows players on the Brazil side, in particular, Vinicius out there on the left wing, who was such a force for Ancelotti at the Real Madrid. In fact, Vinicius, I think, was the main reason. Now, Cruz and Modric, guys who were the midfield veterans there, and they have missed those guys since they've left Real Madrid. But Vinicius was really a catalyst in 2022, winning the Champions League. Big goals in the knockout phase. The only goal, the winning goal, the 1-0 win over Liverpool and Paris to win the Champions League for Real Madrid. And he did it again in 2 years ago, 2024, scoring again in the final 2-0 over Borussia Dortmund. So he knows how to Ancelotti knows how to get the most out of Vinicius, whose pace out there on the wing distorts opposing defenses. And I think that made Real Madrid so hard to defend those couple of years when they won the Champions League. Now, it didn't work out so well last year at Real Madrid after Kylian Mbappe showed up. And I still think, as good as Mbappe is, that was sort of a commercial project there for Florentino Perez. On the field, you really didn't need to bring Mbappe in to a side that had already won the Champions League 2 times in 3 seasons, especially since he sort of plays the same role as Vinicius does out on coming in from the left. Mbappe still scored some goals. Vinicius's total went down. But now Mbappe isn't here. Vinicius doesn't have to worry about that. And Ancelotti knows how to unlock Vinicius like nobody else. And he will be able to maraud on the left wing, and they are going to stretch opposing defenses that way. Also, don't forget about Rafinha from Barcelona. He is now healthy. Boy, having him coming in up front with Vinicius, that is going to be very, very difficult to stop. And there's other strikers. There's other scoring options there as well. How about Matheus Cunha? Came on really nice this year for Man United late in the season after coming over from Wolves last summer. In the back, there's some experience back there. Marquinhos, Gabriel, we saw both of them, PSG and Arsenal respectively, in the Champions League final. And in goal, Ederson and Alisson in particular from Liverpool. Big-time goalie there in Europe. And I think Alisson's presence there could be very big in the back. Bottom line, there's a couple of options here for Brazil. We talked about the prices to get to the final and to win it. I still think Spain is probably the side that will win as long as Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal are 100%, providing that width. But if they're not, this thing opens up a lot more, and Brazil might have a chance. So keep an eye on that. But I think Vinicius's prices are pretty interesting as well. To lead, to win the Golden Boot, plus 2,500. If Brazil makes a deep run, and if Vinicius does what I think he can for Ancelotti, that is a real bomber price we might want to consider for a small punt. Also, to get over 2.5 goals for Brazil, not too bad a price there, plus 120, a little more reasonable, but I think that's decent value as well. So that's what I look at for Brazil. Morocco is a very difficult side. Last time we saw them at length was in AFCON last December, and that crazy final against Senegal where it got all sorts so messy there at the end. Morocco eventually awarded the victory, though that still might be up for discussion in courts, the courts down there. Walid Regragui, the coach, the manager who took them to the finals, the quarterfinals of the World Cup, to the semifinals of the World Cup 4 years ago. He left after AFCON. But Mohamed Kabi comes in, a longtime coach of the Morocco under-20s and 23, so he's been in the system there. And I don't think Morocco loses much. Fullbacks attack from the back. You've got a great goalie in Bono. In case you get into the knockout phase and you get into a penalty kick shootout, I want Bono on my side. We saw what he did beating Spain. Didn't even allow Spain a goal in the shootout in 2022 in the knockout phase, and I was also there for Sevilla in the knockout phase when they beat Roma in the Europa League final in 2023. He's been in the Saudi League the last couple of years, but he's a big-time goalie. Achraf Hakimi in the back line there from PSG, majestic in the back there. They're a tough team to beat. I think they finished second in this group. That's why I like Brazil 1, Morocco 2, plus 110 to get on that exact finish. Now, Haiti is in trouble here. I think they're going to be outmanned, and I do not think they're going to be much of a factor in the group. Scotland, though, has a chance, I think, to get through. And by the way, they're very excited in Glasgow and elsewhere. First time since 1998, 28 years between World Cup appearances for Scotland. Didn't fare too badly in the Euros. Though they're very 2 years ago, they're very disappointed they didn't advance through. Lost that very tough one to Hungary right at the last moments in the end of the group phase. But listen, they're very excited. That big win over Denmark at Hampton Park in November. Scott McTominay, incredible bicycle kick to get things going, set Hampton Park ablaze, and the Scots ended up winning 4-2. Steve Clark got them back here. He was the manager at the Euros as well. He's been there for a few years. They think they can get through. I think they will beat Haiti, and I think that should be enough to get them through, and I think they'll probably land right on 3 points there, and you get a pretty good price on that at plus 250 with Scotland. I think they go out in the round of 32, though. Minus 138, not too bad of a price there. Top scorer for Scotland, John McGinn, Aston Villa midfielder. A lot of big goals for Villa down the stretch. Villa wins the Europa League, 4th place in the EPL. And McGinn to be Scotland's top scorer. It's him or McTominay, but plus 800 on McGinn, I think, is a pretty good price. Anyway, those are some ideas I have in Group C. Remember, if you have some comments, hit the comment box on the screen there. I'd love to hear from you. And, of course, don't forget my special World Cup All Access Pack. $149, all of my picks through the July 19th final. So we'll be back with more soccer a little bit later. Until next time, that's a goodbye from me.